Hello, this video is for the juniors. This is for for Unit 1, Quiz 3. In this quiz, you're going to be asked about rhetorical devices. Now, there are three types of rhetoric. There's logos, which is logic, ethos, which is a sense of right and wrong, and pathos, which is emotion. And writers and storytellers use those three to get their message across to their readers. And when John Steinbeck wrote The Grapes of Wrath, he used syntax, sentence structure, parallelism, which is repetition of words, repeated word patterns, and diction or word choice to get across his rhetoric to his readers. Now, syntax, like I said, that is sentence structure. How did John Steinbeck write his sentences? Why did he choose to write them a certain way to get his point across? Parallelism, which is the repetition of words, that helps to push across a certain idea. Like the sky was bright, the grass was green, the flowers were colorful. That's parallelism, trying to show to the reader or listener a picture. And then diction or word choice, that helps set the tone and possibly the emotion of the story that you're telling, in this case, John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath. For example, in chapter 5 of The Grapes of Wrath, Steinbeck, there's a scene that describes the tractors coming, and they're described as these insects. John Steinbeck could have chosen to write a different way. He could have just said that the tractors came and called them tractors. Instead, he describes them as great crawling insects. Let's see. Snub-nosed monsters sticking their snouts into the dust. And this, since he chose to write it this way, instead of just straight across saying that they were tractors, that helps to show the helplessness of the farmers. Instead of tiny little insects coming to eat their crops, there's these great big giant insects made out of metal that they can't stop. And it helps to show the inhumanness of what is happening. And also, he chose the title for a specific reason. When I was last talking about the title, I couldn't remember the reference in the Bible, but it's Revelations chapter 14, verses 19 and I think 20. And there's this scene from chapter 21 that references the title, and this not directly references a scripture, but it mentions what happens in the scripture in this little bit from chapter 21. And I'll read that. It says, "On the highways the people moved like ants and searched for work, for food, and the anger began to ferment. And in the eyes of the people there is the failure, and in the eyes of the hungry there is a growing wrath. In the souls of the people the grapes of wrath are filling and growing heavy for the vintage." And you can see there he uses the word ferment, which, it describes the making of alcohol, in this case wine, and this growing wrath. And here's the verse from Revelations. It's just Revelations chapter 14, verse 19, and it says, "And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God." And like it says there, it doesn't directly mention grapes, but it knows that it's talking about grapes because of wine press, which is made from grapes. And so that's where Steinbeck got his title. And remember also, intercalary chapters mean the chapters where the plot itself isn't moving forward. The story is about the Joad family that's trying to get west and find work. And the intercalary chapters are chapters that don't directly move the plot forward, or the Joad family's plot forward, but still describes things that are happening in the Great Depression and help the reader see that the problem isn't just the Joad family's problem, but it's a bigger problem. It's a national, worldwide problem that was going on, and it helps us see the emotion of the intercalary chapters. Help us see the emotion, the bigger emotion, and not just the trouble of the Joad family. And hopefully that will help you as you take your quiz on Unit 1, quiz 3 for Unit 1.